What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today at the request of Bye Bye. Let's get into this, you guys. This is insane. This is insane. This is an insane chart. Why is it insane? Because we are almost at all-time highs right now. We're basically at all-time highs. Like literally, let's see, the all-time high was at 69K. We went all the way up to 68.85K, essentially. We're there, man. We're there. We're literally at all-time highs. Now, could we reject from here? Sure. Seeing a rejection off of all-time highs isn't a totally crazy thing, but for Bitcoin, just to put it in perspective, let's go through this real quick. Let's do this. Anytime we've interacted with previous all-time highs, what can we expect? Well, here we go, right? First all-time high. Yeah, I would say this is your first all-time high, right? Like notable first all-time high. Well, we interacted with it here. We did tip it 1 week just to come down a little bit, and then the next week we broke through it, and the following week, just glory. It was up to the upside here. I mean, up to the upside. It continued to move up, marching its way up slowly but surely, and then once we broke that line, it was a big old movement in a very short amount of time in comparison to this. So looking at that, man, I feel like I can't talk today. We established a high here. I wouldn't count this as an all-time high, more of a pit stop throughout the bull market, but let's just take that into consideration too. Once we broke it, again, kind of worked our way up to it, and then once you broke it, big candles, bigger moves, faster moves coming into play. But let's move that up to here. Okay, over here we did find turbulence around it. We actually even broke through it here, kind of had somewhat of a fake out. We dropped, let's see, here we dropped 33%, 33.5%. So we could drop. It's possible. It's done it before. What we haven't done before is see prices up this close, literally at all-time highs before the halving event. We've never seen that. So, we can definitely do things we've never seen before. Then you came up, hugged it. Once you finally did break it, you didn't meander as much as you did here. You actually started to make larger strides up, and this was that 2017 parabolic structure, just a beautiful bull rally at that. Next all-time high. Hugged it for 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then on the 5th week we started moving up. And yeah, we did really well for ourselves, right? Worked our way up to it, and then afterwards just blew up. And yes, last cycle was a little bit hindered, I would say, in comparison to other cycles. It was the smallest amount of growth we've seen, and that's more or less to be expected with the idea of diminishing returns. But you guys, I've been saying this since we were down in this range here, right? I might have been saying it since before then. I really don't remember, but I've been saying that I expect this bull market to be the first bull market that we will see not diminishing returns but greater returns than the previous cycle. I very much believe that that's what's going to happen. And I've listed my reasons for that. I'll go over that in a quick little note right now. The main reason for that, okay, I guess I'll list off a bunch of reasons, but the main reason I think is because of the DXY. The DXY is not in an expansion phase right now, okay? Every bull cycle we've had for the DXY, it's either been going down or it's been in a consolidation phase. But last cycle, in the midst of the bull cycle, literally toward the end of it, when we were supposed to have our final finale, and run up who knows how high, the dollar started expanding. The DXY broke out of its consolidation, and being that Bitcoin is priced versus the dollar, it's hard for BTC to move up for prolonged periods of time when the dollar is moving up. Now, when it's moving up a little bit, that's okay, but when the dollar's in a breakout expansion phase, that's a bit of a different story. And looking at the DXY, I'll go over it right now. I'm not going to go over it too much. I really don't want to spend too much time on this, but if you look at it for what it is, consolidation, broke out, right? Expanded. Consolidated, broke out, expanded. We've just started consolidating in relevance to these, right? So I very much do think that the dollar will consolidate through this bull market, even into the bear market. And yeah, we've moved up a little bit. Some people have been commenting, why is the DXY moving up and Bitcoin's moving up with it? It's that happens. A lot of people think the DXY moving up means Bitcoin has to move down, but they're not completely inversely correlated. It's not like that. There's, this month here, or what was it actually? Where was it? November, right here. this week right here, the biggest drop for the DXY promoted like a 20-something% drop that week for Bitcoin as well. So they definitely can move together. But I just wanted to show you guys how we are literally just beginning in relevance to like this consolidation phase, we're early. We're very early. So I don't think the DXY is going to get in the way of Bitcoin expanding this cycle. Therefore, I expect a more impressive cycle than last cycle. And I feel like I've started to finally see a lot of more popular YouTubers come around to saying that. And I think this is convincing. The fact that we're already at all-time, we're very close to our previous all-time highs. I guess our current all-time highs, and it's not even the halving yet. We grew 2,100% in the last cycle, from the cycle low to the cycle high, 2,100%. I'm calling for something bigger than that. So let's just assume that 2,100 is in the bag, okay? If I can get to the low, there we go. 2,100 being in the bag would mean that Bitcoin is going to move up at least to 340K. Okay, at least there, because again, I am calling for, and I think a lot of people are starting to call for, a stronger rally than the last cycle. Not only did we have the DXY in an expansion phase during the last cycle, and I'll go back to this to just in brief show you what I mean. Here in right here, right? We're consolidating whatever. We started moving up from this low point. The dollar was this whole upward move. It started back here in May of 2021, right? The end of the bull cycle was in December, or was it? No, it was November of 2021 for Bitcoin. So this happened months before the end. We literally started moving up right here, like at a rapid pace for the dollar, and that's likely why Bitcoin was unable to exceed 69K. That's my genuine opinion. Pair that with the fact that we had, still we had like the COVID blues, the Ukraine-Russia conflict was going on, inflation, we had quantitative tightening, stuff like that. The stock market took a little bit of a hit. We went through, I know a lot of people were talking about it more in 2021 and 2022, but you guys, we went through a recession like in that time. Like absolutely we did. Like I know a lot of people were starting to come out of it. We're starting to see that now. And what comes hand in hand with that is exactly what we see on the side, like the Fed side. We're getting quantitative easing coming back into play. Inflation's coming a little bit more under control. We still have the Russia-Ukraine conflict going on, and we have the Israel-Palestine conflict going on, but it's not new news. It's like, the scare with Russia and Ukraine was, is this going to cause World War III? Well, it's been years now. There's still people who think that it is, and who am I to say that it is or isn't? It definitely is a serious thing, but I don't think that it's going to. I don't think we're going to start World War III over that. And then the Palestine-Israel thing, you guys, this is a conflict that did not start in the last year. This is a conflict that's been going on since before anybody watching this was born. It's something that's not new as well. So I think that the uncertainty surrounding those conflicts, though they may still be pursuing right now, or what's the word I'm looking for? Ensuing? I don't know. Continuing. They're still going on. I don't think there's any uncertainty. I think we kind of more or less understand what we're getting with them. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Maybe I'm speaking about things that I really don't know. I'm not a political guy. I'm a chart guy. But we've got all these negative things that we had back here that are no longer negative. We're actually starting to see the reverse. We're getting rate cuts, right? I forgot to mention that too. I mean, we don't have rate cuts yet, but there's actually more conviction in the belief that rate cuts are coming. We haven't seen rate hikes in I don't know how many months now, but that's all a culmination of the factor of what we faced last cycle versus what we're facing this cycle. And all this stuff is happening now as we're like at all-time highs. I don't think we've even seen the first Fed rate cuts yet, right? I'm pretty sure we haven't. Man, I don't know what's stuck in my throat, but it's annoying. Anyways, I want to get back to this idea, okay? 2,100%. Now that we don't, especially because of the dollar, that's the main thing in my opinion, that we don't have the DXY, the thing that Bitcoin is literally valued against. We don't have the DXY gaining value. I think Bitcoin will have a tremendously easier time growing in this cycle than it did last cycle. Man, this is this is crazy. It's really crazy. It's a really nice look. So with that assumption that we're going to have an easier time moving up, I think it's also safe to assume that we will move up more overall. 2,100%. Again, that's about 2,100%. So that would put the minimum price expectation somewhere around 340K, right? That's like the minimum, because again, I think it's going to go greater than that. So that's not even actually the minimum. That's like where we start getting into, okay, now we're in a stronger market. Where are we actually going to go for Bitcoin? Where's the cycle high going to be? And then after this, I'm going to get into the more immediate technical stuff. Where are we going in like the next day or two, or the next week or so, over the month, what's to expect for the halving, all that stuff. But I'm going over the long-term stuff now, because we are about to set a significant mile marker. We're about to break that on the long-term scale. So anyways, let's see. Let's go back to BTC on the index here. And hold on, guys. I don't know what's wrong with my throat, man. Let's see here. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of all these lines. We take the first cycle high. I've done this so many times. Anybody who's been watching this channel for, I don't know how many months now, but at least 3 or 4 or more, you already know where I'm going with this. But from the first high to the first cycle low, we went all the way up to the 2272 extension based off of that range, right? 2272 extension, that was our next cycle high. If we take this same idea, move it up here, you go high to low, 2272 extension hit yet again. Both of these times, again, I'll remind you, in these bull markets, we did not have the DXY expanding. It either just came out of an expansion phase or was consolidating, right? Same idea here, man. And this time, when we did have the DXY starting to move up into this expansion phase, it was in the beginning of its move up that was taking it into an expansion phase. Bitcoin was a little bit hindered. It was a little bit held back. We only hit the 1618 extension. We hit it twice, but we only hit it. We stopped there. I think if the dollar was not to have expanded, and in culmination with a bunch of other things that I listed earlier, 200,000 was probably going to be where we were supposed to grow. Like that I think we were robbed of this area last cycle. And generally, actually, if we go back, you can see the 2272 here, we went a little bit above it. Here, we also, did I do that right? Let's see. We also went a little bit above it. So now, what I want to, the idea that I want to promote is that we're going to probably see the 2272 of this cycle. That's my genuine opinion, from this all-time high to this all-time low. And now, already assuming that we're going to see a bigger cycle than last cycle, I think that it's easier to kind of wrap your head around the idea that we will break the 1618, which is right now the 1618. If I drew that correctly, I think I did. Yeah. Oh, that's why I was like, I don't think that's the right number. There we go. The 1618 is at $173,800. Okay. I don't think we're going to stop there, but even if we do, even if we see the smallest fib extension, that the lowest fib extension that we've ever reached in Bitcoin's history, which we don't have a lot of iterations to go off of. We only have 3 so far, right? I think that was, yeah, like 1 here, 2, 3, yeah. So this is the 4th one. But out of the 4 we have so far, this would be the smallest expectation. So 173 is in the bag. 174, right? I think that because we're going to see a bigger cycle than the last cycle, that 340K is in the bag, right? 340K being somewhere around this line. That's 344, I know, but I'm not going to work on the fine details, whatever. That's also right between the 1886 and the 2272. If we're going to see a stronger cycle than the last cycle, what is the next step up after that on these fib extensions? It's the 2272, the one that we have hit multiple times, already twice, technically a majority of the time, which again isn't saying much, being that we only have 3 iterations to go off of. But considering that the dollar, the DXY, is in a consolidation phase, things are looking good economically speaking, in the US and in the world right now, most parts of the world. There's always economic turmoil somewhere in the world, multiple somewheres. But I think in the countries that are like major driving factors for market conditions, things are starting to turn up. I very much do believe that we will see this 2272, which is at $462,000. $462,000. If you remember, I went back and I did a little tidbit where I said we go a little bit above that. And what's a little bit above that? 500K. Half of $1 million by the end of this cycle in 2025, at the end of 2025. That's my genuine assumption for Bitcoin here. And what would that look like? Let's get rid of all this noise real quick, okay? Let's keep this in mind. 2025, I'm calling for the bull cycle to be over in October or later, but October is the month that I'm thinking for Bitcoin. And I'm not going to go through and measure everything. I've done that in past videos, but essentially it meets up with like the expectations based off of how long the bull run goes for, and how long we run for after the halving, and how long we run for after we break an all-time high. It all kind of like the average area is right there in October. So I'm not going to go through and measure that, but just trust me, if you want to go back and look at some of my longer term analysis videos, you might have to dig through them, but I know I've stated it and measured it in multiple videos. But that would be, I'm not measuring it, I'm sorry. That would be a look somewhat like this, essentially, right? Something like that is what we would need to see. Now that doesn't mean that we have to be above this line the whole time. We can move up, we can move down, we can move up, we can move down. You know, who knows how it's going to look. But more or less, that's the trajectory that we're looking for. And that does look a bit extreme. But if we zoom out, I mean, I feel like it's pretty damn perfect, man. I honestly feel like it's pretty damn perfect for this, like this curve here. Like I don't know. I can't draw a straight line. Let's see. Try, though we may. I don't know. I feel like it's easier to see with the eyes, not with that crappily drawn line. I can't do it, man. I don't have a steady enough hand or a steady enough mouse, but I think it makes sense to go there, around there in that time. Now, could we go higher? Could we not go as high? Of course, but at a minimum, I would expect us to break 340K. At a maximum, I think $500,000 by the end of this cycle, you guys, which is only like a year and a half away from now. Could happen. We're sitting at 67K right now, and I'm talking about a $500,000 price for Bitcoin. I very much think it's possible. I want to get into the more immediate TA now, talking about the day-to-day stuff. Looking at the weekly RSI, so right now it looks like we've got a higher high in the RSI, but this week is still young, right? We still have, again, going back to the beginning of the analysis, whenever we get toward our all-time high, the very first time we kind of just broke right through it, but the next time we found resistance, right? The next time after that we found like a little bit, like we hugged it for like 3 or 4 weeks. So I don't know if I expect that we're going to break through it right now, personally. I don't think it would be great if we did, but I don't think that we're going to. I absolutely did not expect that we would see prices up here this soon. I thought that this high was going to be a little bit more momentary. I thought we would pull back from there, at least to 50K, or a little bit lower than that. But we did not. We just we continued to go higher with a little bit of declining volume, but that's still really nice volume. We do have somewhat of a bearish divergence look on the daily, but this day is still young. We have 19 hours and 36 minutes left. Let's see how it closes. If it closes red, yes, we will have bearish divergence, and that would be good for a move at least back to around like 62, 63K, something like that. Probably like 62, a little bit below 62K is what I would think. But if we do close this week red, we would also have a double top on the RSI, because this right here, this is where the crux, this is where that like point is for the week to open. So right now, yes, it's high, but if the week flips red, this will come down, and right where that little crux is, it's right there. It would be a perfect double top on the RSI on the weekly. And I'm just wondering if we have any double tops to like reference. I guess we have one here. It's not quite the same look, but let's just see. Got to go way down here, man. Went from tens of thousands to tens of dollars. Double top here, and we went down. This is actually a cycle high, but it's not the same look. These are closer together, and this was after a bunch of like extended periods in the overbought zone. So I don't know about that. This here was kind of a double top as well. So another little consolidation phase, something like that, maybe something like this. Something like this might be what we're encountering with Bitcoin. I don't know. There's really not anything else to go off of. This is kind of close to a double top, but not quite. But again, a little consolidation phase for a few weeks, which that makes sense, right? Going off of what we did anytime we've looked to break, we've interacted with our previous all-time highs, or our current all-time high right now. We did stall for a few weeks, and then we moved up. So that could happen. That really could happen this week. I'm personally kind of looking for a red week. But I'd love to be wrong, man, because if Bitcoin keeps going up, I think we're all going to be happy, because no matter what crypto you're holding, it's going to be good, man. Probably. Let's also take this into account. Let's see. So anytime we've been above this line, we've been above this line a few times. We could go higher. We absolutely could go higher. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Man, what was I about to say? If we flip this week red, if it does close red, that could mean that we have a more momentary look to the downside. That could mean that, prices all the way down below 45K are back on the table. That could be somewhere that we go. Pulling back to here, that would only be a higher low in this kind of trajectory upwards. I feel like I even kind of like bent the line up here a little bit, that like you don't have to hit this line, you don't have to, but it wouldn't be terrible. It wouldn't be a bad thing at all. It would give people another chance to get in before things really take off. It might cause some altcoins to correct, stuff like that. We might not see a move down like that. That's kind of like the maximum potential for a move down that I'd be looking for, but the minimum would be at 55K. 55.1K, probably a little bit below that. Let's say a little bit under 55K. Okay, we're here right now at 67.8K, with the current high being at 68.7K. Unless we go higher from here, this is the expected area at a minimum that I would expect that we go to. If we look for the 61869 area right here, that would lead us to like the maximum target being about 46K. If not, probably around 48K, 48K to 46K. Now, I will say that Bitcoin on this run up has had a liking to its 0.5, its 50% area. So we very well could see a bounce off of this area as well. Any and everything in between, really anything and everything between just under 55K and right above 46K is fair game. We'll probably know better as we get down to those areas, looking at the RSIs, seeing what things are, seeing what the sentiment is. Let's actually look at the sentiment right now. I'm curious. 90. We're putting the pedal to the floor, you guys, as you should be. We're at all-time highs. Like, this is crazy stuff. Let's look at the max. I'm curious. So the last time that we were in the 90s was not at the end of the bull cycle, but in that year, right, February of 2021, we've only been up in this area a couple times, really, like once, twice, 3 times here. And yes, we were up here for more than just like one time, but essentially I'm counting this as once. We dipped out of it hard, and then we went down. Let's see what we did here. All right, so we went January. We were up in it in like December of 2020, January, and then we came out of it end of January. I want to see what we did there. Delete all these lines, just to like compare it to the last time that we were doing something like this. Right, January 2020. Oh, no, okay, all right. December, right? It was December, and then the end of January is whenever we got really fearful. Okay, so that was this drop here. This is what caused this little divot right here, this extreme divot from the 90s all the way down to like, what was that, 17? No. It won't tell me. Come on. I'm trying to get it. I'm like literally on it with my mouse, but it won't let me. It's out of 40. We can just look over here. It's basically out of 40. That's where that was. So it went from 90 to 40 in a very, very short amount of time. And the drop that we saw there from a high to a low was a 30% drop. It was a little bit more than that, actually. 31% drop. So if we had that same idea, 31% drop, assuming this is the high, assuming it is, right? A 31% drop essentially would take us back to 48K, just below 48K, which that fits. I'm pretty sure that's right in the golden ratio level. Yeah, it's right there. It's right there. It's literally right at the 618. So that could be something we see. Bitcoin does like its 618. Again, though, this whole time moving up, I'll just do it really quick because I've done it a few times already, but not in this video, just in other videos. But Bitcoin does like its 0.5. If we take this top to bottom, no, it's not this one, my bad, I'm sorry. Not that one, my bad. Maybe it's this bottom to this top, no. Right here, 0.5 hit. If you take this low to this high, you've also got your 0.5 hit twice over here, right? And then, I don't know if there's any other times that we've done it, but that's like 3 times on the way up. Different kind of movements than this. I'm just saying, the only reason I'm bringing that up is we absolutely could see support at the 0.5 from this move right here, instead of the 618, right? A lot of people know about the golden ratio. A lot of people might be looking to buy around there, so we might not get it. It might get front ran. We might see support at that 51.5K area. But nonetheless, being at about 68K right now, I wouldn't be surprised if soon, maybe not this week, maybe next week, probably sometime this month, we're going to start turning down and going for that 48K, 46K area at a minimum 55K. Or potentially somewhere in between. And that's really all I got to say, man. If I'm wrong, if we just keep going up, I'll be okay with that. I hope you guys are too, man. I hope everybody's loaded up. That's the thing, man. Anybody feeling the pain right now, you're probably feeling the pain because you tried playing the game. You sold some crypto. I know I had some people in the Discord say that they know people. I think it was Smooth Operator who said that he has people in real life who sold at 50K and 60K, and it's like, man, you don't play that game. I've learned that the hard way myself, and I've learned that from people who are smarter than me, who do it the right way. That you don't sell this early in the market, because you never know when Bitcoin will break its all-time high before the halving, and it's never done that before. But you never know when it can be its first time. You never know when you can be wrong. And being that we're so early, you guys. Even though prices are up here right now, we are still so early in the cycle. You don't want to mess with that. You only want to add to it. So if you're expecting prices to go down, cool. Put money into it when it goes down there. But don't try to play the game where you sell up here and then you buy down there, because that's when you get screwed. That's when you get screwed. You can make all the bearish predictions up here, and maybe you're right, maybe you're wrong. Cool. But if you're wrong, you're still going to be right, because you're still going to be making money if you don't play the game, right? If you're right, okay, cool, then you can add a little bit more to it. You might not have sold up here, so you can't like double dip and whatever. That's okay. I mean, as long as you're loaded up in the early phases of the bull market, you're still going to be fine. So it's not worth playing the game. Don't play the game. I'm not at all saying sell here, though I am saying I wouldn't be surprised being at a 90 on the crypto fear and greed index, man. I would not be surprised if at some point soon we saw a little bit of a pullback. And yeah, that really could be the high. I want to look at the daily again. Daily looks strong. Yes, we do have bearish divergence, but again, until this day closes red in 19 hours 26 minutes from now, we don't have that confirmation. Looking at the 4-hour, if it'll load, the 4-hour looks really bullish. We technically do have bearish divergence there too, though, for what it's worth, and that is more or less confirmed. With the close of this 4-hour, that would be really confirmed. That is a spinning top right there at the top there, and that's pretty common with these tops. Let's see here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Nothing really. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know what else to say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're on 7 green months right now. What's the longest streak that Bitcoin's ever had for green months? I'm not going to count. That was a red month there. I don't know. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3. We're not going to count these neutral months, but here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is this the longest streak we've had? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I didn't expect this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then on the 7th we turned red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 was the top. So, okay, so we've never actually seen 7 green months in a row for Bitcoin. Okay, just further adding fuel to the fire that we might cool off. We might cool off right now. We are coming into the halving. We generally do get a dump somewhere before the halving, going into the halving. And one time back here, we actually did get a dump because the halving was in July of 2016. We topped off the month before, and then we proceeded to go down into the halving, and through the halving we actually saw a drop that was, let's see, from top to bottom 40.3%. So it looks small, but 40.3% from here would take us below 48K. So because we already know 31% is 48K. So I mean, I don't know, 40% drop from here. That would take us essentially to like 41K. It could happen. It could happen. But again, topped off the month before the halving. Here we are, the month before the halving. You know, it could be the same thing. Maybe it's different because again, we are dealing with circumstances we've never encountered before. But you know, being at these all-time highs and also being 7 months green in a row, on multiple accounts, more than just that, we're dealing with things we've never encountered before. So it's any person's guess, but my guess is we will see a pullback. If we haven't found the high, if that's not the high, we're very, very close to it. We're very, very close to it, and we're probably going to pull back soon. If not today, if not starting today, it could be today. And when I say high, I mean high, not top, right? It's a momentary high. It's a relative high. It's not the top. I started this video for a reason with the bullish endeavors, right? We have a lot of growing to do. The minimum expectation is 340K. Based off of the last cycle on fibs, the minimum expectation would be at 173K. But my personal minimum expectation would be above 340. And really, I'm looking for that 460 to 500K area by the end of the cycle, sometime in later 2025. If not in Q4, then the end of Q3, like the very last month of Q3, but probably sometime in Q4. And that's that, man. So if you guys like the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more. Good job, Bitcoin. Good job, crypto. Good job to everybody who's involved, who has their life savings in this, who's got, you know, whether you have $100 or $100,000 or $100 million, man, you guys are all feeling the love right now, and I'm grateful to be in this market. I'm grateful to be in these circumstances. I hope you guys are too. And if by some unfortunate circumstance you're trying to play the game and you're finding yourself losing, you're seeing things like this and it's hurting. It makes you in your gut feel like, what did I do? I should have just sat on my hands. I would have been so much better off. If you're feeling that, I understand, man. I've been there. I've been there plenty of times. Let me tell you, wait for an opportunity. When it comes, take that opportunity and don't mess with it. Just sit on your hands for a year and a half, man. Do you have that in you? Can you sit on your hands for a year and a half and watch the gains go up without you trying to be smart, without you trying to catch every little up and down and trying to double down on your money, making up for losses, any of that stuff? Can you just be patient and let Bitcoin and let crypto do its thing for you? It's easier to do than it is to feel that gut feeling inside you that's like, oh, what did I do? I'm telling you, just wait for the opportunity. It won't be as good as it was here. It won't be as good as it was here, and it certainly won't be as good as it was here, but it will be better than it is here. You will get a pullback at some point, right? Unless we just keep going, man, then you're in a really, you might have to find some stocks to look into or something else, man. But again, just fully emphasizing, even though I think we could see a significant drop from here, do not sell. Do not play the game. It's a horrible idea. I'm talking about a potential 30 to 40% drop, and selling here is a horrible idea because you never know. You never know, man. This is crypto. This is Bitcoin. And with that, I leave you. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you all for coming. I got to fix my voice, man. I don't know what's wrong with it. Take care.